So you want to start a comic, but you feel overwhelmed by all that you need to do. So up until this point, you haven't started yet. You are not alone, and in fact, I was the exact same way years ago. At one point, I was just afraid that my comic would never get made. Making comics should not be this hard, so in this video, I want to give you 3 tips that will help you to get yourself to start a comic. Once you get clarity on what to do, then making comics should be much easier. Hi, and welcome back to Pencils and Stories. My name is Henrike, and I make and teach comics. I want to help you make your own comics. So if that's something that you want to do, follow the channel for weekly videos. The first tip to help you get started on your own comic is to figure out exactly what to do. There's probably a very big reason why you haven't started your comic yet is because you're not exactly clear on what you need to be doing. Your brain doesn't know what the next step to take is. And if that's the case, if you're a little vague on what you need to do, then your brain will automatically start resisting working on it. So the very first step in getting yourself to start your comic is to outline exactly what you need to do. And you might actually need some help with that. And if you're not exactly sure on how to start a comic, there's tons of resources out there. So if I would start a comic from scratch and I didn't have much experience, I would get something that lays out exactly what to do in order to make a comic. I have a video that I made back in 2020 that you can find right here that will explain the very first questions that you need to ask yourself the moment you start a comic. There's also tons of books on making comics. There's also courses that you can take. And if you want to get started really quickly, I have a checklist for you that you can download at pencilsandstories.com/extra that will lay out all the steps that you need to take in order to create your comic, to start your comic. It will go from blank page to how to actually make a comic page and everything in between. So I definitely recommend to check out that free resource at pencilsandstories.com/extra. The first thing is outline just what you need to do and figure out how to make a comic. 2, figure out the very first step and then break that step down into much smaller steps until you're not overwhelmed and it's doable for you. For example, the first step on my checklist is already pretty specific. It's a jumping off point to start a brand new story. And the step is to brainstorm or mind map or whatever method you want to use. What kinds of stories, what kind of genres and worlds and characters do you love? And this is to help you figure out what kind of stories you like to tell. But let's say this step still overwhelms you. It's totally fine, nothing to be worried about. So instead of starting the brainstorm immediately on a piece of paper, you could think to yourself, what do I need in order to start brainstorming about the things I love? So the answer might be to just look through your bookcase, look at all your comics that you've collected, look at your DVD collection, or your last purchases online in terms of books or movies or anything like that, to see what you gravitate towards. So do this for every single step that you run into that's overwhelming to you. Break it down further and further and further until you have a small little piece of an action that you can take that's not overwhelming to you. And once you're super specific and very clear on what that is, your brain will go, oh, that's something I can do, and it will stop resisting. And the third tip, the last tip, is to plan regular time into your schedule to work on your comic. So whenever the steps are clear and your brain is clear on what it needs to do, then you still need to schedule it in your planner. You can have all the best intentions in the world, but when you're waiting to get inspired, when you're waiting to find the right time, when you're waiting to find a big block of time, or you're maybe even waiting to be less scared, less overwhelmed, and less intimidated by making a comic because you've not done it before, that will all keep you stuck. So plan it in your planner. Look at the first action that you need to take only. Don't think about, oh, this large project and I have a very large story and I am gonna make 100 pages. Like, don't think about all of that. Just focus on the next step. Plan that next step in your planner, in your schedule, and then at that moment when it comes, actually do it. Once you dedicate a specific time or a specific day for your comic work, you're much more likely to do it. So don't plan huge amounts of time either. Remember, you do not want to get overwhelmed. So if you have 20 minutes a day or even 20 minutes a few times a week, that's all you need to get started. Because many small regular steps make for big leaps instead of you waiting and then maybe working on your comic once a month. Also, taking regular action will actually give yourself the confidence to keep going because you prove to yourself that you're able to work on your comic regularly, that you're able to do the actions that you need to take, and that you're clear on where you are going and what you need to be doing. And eventually it's become routine and you don't even have to think about it. So those are the 3 tips. To recap, the first tip is to actually get a plan, lay out everything that you need to do. And then the second step is to take that very first action, and very first step that you need to take, and then break that down into something that's doable for you. And then the third step is to actually plan that action in your schedule, so you're much more likely to do it. If you have only 20 minutes a day, that is enough. Just make sure that you're consciously working on it, that you consciously plan it in, and that you actually set the intention of doing it. Fastest way to get to know everything that you need to do and prepare before you can start making your comic pages is to download my free checklist that I mentioned before. It's called the Ultimate Checklist for Starting Your Comic, and you can get it at pencilsandstories.com/extra. You'll also get some emails with some actions in the coming days that you can take. That is an addition to the stuff that's in the PDF. So I definitely recommend downloading that. And that was it for this video. I want to thank you so much for watching. I'm trying to keep my videos a little bit smaller, a little bit more bite-sized, so that you can immediately take action and I'm not overwhelming you with all kinds of information. I really hope it was helpful. I hope that this video inspires you to get started on your comic, maybe today. That would be super exciting for me. If you do, leave a comment down below. Leave a comment down below if you want to let me know what you thought about this video, and have a great day and go and make some comics.